A big India-US trade deal is Donald Trump's next big target, but will it be beneficial for India?
But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India.
Just a day after saying Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of mine, he's a great gentleman, he's a great man.
They're very smart, and he's a very smart man and a great friend of mine, actually.
Now Donald Trump has spoken on a very big trade deal with India and to open India up. Reports back here in India suggest the Modi government is keen on securing a trade deal but will keep national interest as priority.
Mr. Tariff. Oh, he's a much tougher negotiator than me, and he's a much better negotiator than me.
India has made its position clear. There will be no compromise on two key sectors. First, as you guessed it, is agriculture. But there is another critical sector. Can you guess which one? As the July 9 Trump tariff deadline looms closer, we'll tell you the main key hurdles which still remain and what are India's demands from the US in return. So stay with us.
हमारी मजबूत स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप डेमोक्रेसी की ताकत.
But first, after signing a new agreement with China, US President Trump, while speaking at the event, Big Beautiful Bill at the White House said, quote, "We just signed with China. We are not going to make deals with everybody, but we are having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, a very big one." Coming directly from Trump, clearly his team has told the president that a trade breakthrough with India is within reach. He added, "We are going to open up India. In the China deal, we are starting to open up China. Things that never really could have happened, and the relationship with every country has been very good." Trump was referring to the critical minerals deal with Beijing, which is expected to speed up the export of such rare earths to America. Other reports suggest the CCP still has a chokehold on these exports despite the US pact. Trump maintains that his administration will only seal deals which benefit America, adding, quote, "We are not going to make deals with everybody. Some we are just going to send them a letter saying thank you very much. You are to pay 25, 35, 45%. At the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, US Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick stated, quote, "You should expect a deal between the United States and India in the not-so-distant future because I think we found a place that really works for both countries." Repeatedly, India has maintained that it is open to any deal with the US as long as it is mutually beneficial. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has stressed on an equitable trade agreement. Meanwhile, a team of Indian delegates led by Chief Negotiator Rajesh Agarwal are present in Washington to hold discussions around possibilities to make the proposed bilateral agreement a success. Lowering of tariffs would make US products more popular in India, especially in sectors like energy, agriculture, aviation, and defense sector. According to the Finance Ministry's monthly economic review, a BTA could give advantage to American exporters given that India has a higher average tariff than the US comparatively. In turn, Indian manufacturers and exporters will gain access to the highly lucrative US market. One area of interest is the defense sector. A bilateral trade deal will increase chances of India gaining access to critical tech, which so far has proven a challenge. Moreover, delays in deliveries of Apache helicopters and Tejas fighter jet engines from the US have made Indians wary. But a BTA could change all that, bringing India on par with America's NATO allies. US is the world's leading arms exporter, which has recently strengthened its collaboration with India, including the Indus X program initiated in 2023. Even as the July 9 deadline looms for Trump tariffs to kick in, India is placing a greater priority on national interest. Any trade deal must be mutually beneficial and not lopsided. A source revealed to Money Control, quote, "We really want to do a deal before the 9th of July, but there are challenges. The idea is to get a deal which is a win-win." Just last week, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal expressed confidence in an interview with The Hindu. He stated, quote, "I'm very confident that given the US and India are very friendly countries, trusted partners, both wanting to have resilient, reliable and trusted supply chains, both vibrant democracies, we will be able to come up with a win-win for the businesses of both countries." all eyes now are on the slated US visit of officials from the Indian Ministry of Commerce for the next round of in-person meetings. On the agenda is the bilateral trade agreement, the timeline for which is fall this year. However, reportedly, India is keen to protect two key sectors. First is agriculture and the second is dairy. A source told Economic Times that these sectors are challenging for India and that, quote, India has not opened up dairy in any of its free trade pacts. The report adds that New Delhi remains adamant on not opening these sectors nor allowing any lower duty imports of American agricultural products such as maize and soybean into India. Now, first, this is to protect national interest and any adverse impact on lower income farmers of India. But there are also serious health concerns related to any genetically modified imported food products. The United States is also demanding India to eliminate tariffs on medical devices and, strangely, relax data localization policy. Now, this mandates storage of user data on local servers inside India. So why is the United States linking user data to any trade talks? Now, these issues have led to a mini standoff, but there's more to contend with. India too has its own demands. The Modi government is seeking zero tariff access for some of its own industries into the US. These includes pharmaceuticals, engineering goods, auto parts, textiles, and leather goods. However, the US is not keen to go down to zero tariffs immediately. New Delhi is also reportedly seeking immunity from any future tariffs if and when a trade deal is reached. So despite Donald Trump's bold announcement of a mega trade deal with India, several key negotiations are still ongoing. But both sides remain confident.
India's coming along great. I think we'll have a deal with India.
In order to find a solution, India has been trying to negotiate a scaled-down version in the first tranche of the bilateral trade agreement with the United States. A source was reported saying, quote, India will lose in some, gain in some, because it is not like the US is doing much trade deals with other countries. The US also wants duty concessions on certain industrial goods, automobiles, especially electric vehicles, wines, petrochemical products, dairy, and agricultural items like apples, tree nuts, and genetically modified crops. India is seeking duty concessions for its labor-intensive sectors, including textiles, gems and jewelry, leather goods, garments, plastics, chemicals, shrimp, oil seeds, grapes, and bananas in the proposed bilateral trade pact. Hurdles remain even after the US trade representatives engaged with their Indian counterparts in New Delhi from the 5th to the 6th of June. But there is a lot of common ground as well. Both administrations are united in seeking greater market access, reducing tariff and non-tariff barriers, and enhancing supply chain resilience and integration. So the ultimate goal remains the same. Reports suggest major Indian companies such as Dixon Technologies, Tata Consumer Products, Blue Star, Havells, and Arvind observed how India can benefit from being in an advantageous position. There have been increase in business inquiries from American associates, as well as greater chances of expanding business activities. So even as Donald Trump is keen on local production in America, manufacturing in India for export still remains more economically viable for most global firms. The fact that China faces 30% of US tariffs currently compared to India's currently suspended 26% presents a positive outlook for top executives. So what's the holdup? The current US law mandates approval from the US Congress before lowering tariffs below the MFN status or the most favored nation status, and India is seeking zero tariffs for several of its sectors. Negotiations gained significance also due to India-US alignment on their program called Mission 500. Now, this aims to increase bilateral trade between the two sides to $500 billion by 2030, an agreement reached between US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi in February this year. In 2024, the bilateral trade between India and US stood at a record $118 billion, with India having a trade surplus of $36.8 billion. Indian exports to America were $77.5 billion, while imports from US were $40.7 billion. With nearly 18% of total Indian exports, America is one of India's largest export markets. From 2021 to 2024, the US was also India's largest trading partner. In services sector, Indian exports were $36.3 billion and imports at $29.8 billion. From 2000 to 2024, India also received $67.8 billion in FDI from the states. However, India ranked 10th on the list of US trading partners, and a trade deal could see that figure move closer to the top. So what do you believe? Would a trade deal with the US help boost the Indian economy even further? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.